You're listening to the Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
I'm not in Bayville, but I wanted to say that because I want my best big dick tonight. I want the big dick that I love tonight.
Dude, I'm raging and ready for action.
Is there any place better in the world than Bayville, New Jersey?
You know what? I'm gonna say absolutely not.
I don't think so either. You know what, man? I'm excited. Royal Rumble season's in the air. You know, we find out tonight about Undertaker entering the Royal Rumble. How do you feel that in 2017 that essentially you're going to watch a Royal Rumble that has The Undertaker, Goldberg, and Brock Lesnar in the same exact ring at the same exact time?
Dude, that is exciting. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier today. This is by far the most stacked Royal Rumble match we've ever had.
Why are they doing that? I think it's awesome, by the way. I love it. I'm super excited. But why is Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, Chris Jericho, Undertaker, Goldberg, why are they doing this? I love it. I think it's super cool. I'm just shocked. Like, WWE doesn't usually stack the deck like that.
I think what it is every year you'll have like one or two feuds where it originates like, oh, geez, you eliminated me from the Rumble, or you got eliminated and he came back in and interfered. So usually that would like start up like one feud, like to continue afterwards. I could see something similar happening here. Maybe not, but possibly two or three feuds where you have obviously whoever wins it gets a title shot. You're going to have, I think it's probably going to be Lesnar and Goldberg probably eliminate each other somehow, unless they decide to book them against separate people. And I could see like Jericho Rollins or something doing a set.
Yeah, you know what's cool though? Like, I think WWE finally like realized like, hey, we have a pay-per-view in February, and if there's a match we want to book, we can just do it at the February pay-per-view that sets up WrestleMania, and not have to go buy the freaking formula for the Royal Rumble. So I don't think that there's any odds on favor. I guess if I had to pick a favorite, just based on what I think WWE is going to do, I'd say Braun Strowman, but I don't think they'll do that because it's too obvious. So they might do that, but you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool how they booked it, because WWE lately, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, they don't necessarily do the obvious every single time. So I think they've done a great job over the last 2 years across the board in WWE, and I think this Royal Rumble is going to be one of the best things they do in a really long time. I'm very, very excited. I guess to start with the Undertaker thing, you know, it was kind of weird, the whole performance review. Like pretty much Mick Foley, if he didn't produce the Undertaker tonight, he'd be put on a corrective action plan. I'm not sure why it mattered so much, but Undertaker showed up and said he'd enter the Royal Rumble, and he doesn't answer to anyone. But what I was under the impression that he was a SmackDown superstar, because 2 months ago he came out and said he's SmackDown for life, essentially. So I didn't get that whole build-up, but I do like that he entered the Royal Rumble. Any thoughts on all that?
You know, I think it was just, to be honest with you, I think it was a ratings draw for WWE. I mean, they've had a pretty tough go. I mean, SmackDown's increased their ratings. It probably brings people over. I know they've just finished Monday Night Football. Last week they had college football. They had a Rose Bowl, which was a hell of a game. This week they had they're competing for eyeballs, man. I mean, this week you could tell too, like the times that they came out. Like Shawn Michaels came out at like 9 o'clock. Undertaker came out at like 10 o'clock, and it was like Undertaker came out like within like a minute before halftime of the game. So I mean, they're looking for as many eyeballs as they can get. So I think that they're trying to draw people in and draw people over. So I think that it was needed, and I think that you sort of just suspend disbelief. I mean, Undertaker's one of those few legacy stars where he can go wrestle whoever the fuck he wants, wherever the fuck he wants, and I'm not gonna suspend disbelief too much.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. That's a good point you made. Do you think that Raw will start destroying SmackDown in the ratings with the college football playoffs and all that being over and Monday Night Football being history?
I don't think they'll destroy them. I think that they'll improve. I definitely think they'll improve, but I don't think it'll be a complete destruction. I think it's going to be they'll be better than SmackDown, but I don't think they're going to blow them out of water just because SmackDown. I mean, there's a good show. It's 2 hours, and there's probably people out there who say, "Hey, you know what? Raw 3 hours." Same thing we say. Raw 3 hours, freaking long time. A lot of filler stuff, a lot of crap, a lot of commercials until 11. Or I could watch SmackDown from 8 to 10, get to bed at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
And I get my same fill of wrestling, and I still get the updates, and I still have WWE Network. So I think you're pulling from one to the other. So I think some people have gone from Raw to SmackDown, and some people might be football fans where they watch football every week and then watch SmackDown on Tuesday. So
I know that you kind of like brought people to that brand because of it, because it builds loyalty, because they have a unique roster, as we know. And that roster, like in the past, it was just basically the B show, so nobody would watch it because they're like, well, if you're not watching Raw, there's no point to watch SmackDown. There's absolutely a ton of reason to watch SmackDown now. So, it is very interesting, the points that you make, I have to say.
Another thing is, it's actually live now.
Yep.
Whereas with SmackDown at Thursdays, I mean, shit, you know what? I know that if I miss SmackDown on Thursday night, and Thursday night's the night to sometimes go out or do whatever, it's more likely you're to go and have some beers or go and have dinner or go play poker or whatever than a Tuesday. But I know, hey, you know what? If I don't want to watch this or I want to watch something else on Thursday night, I could just go into the dirt sheet and read about it. I can read about it Wednesday morning if I want.
If you really want to know why SmackDown's winning, I can tell you.
Why?
Because they have the hottest woman in professional wrestling history, Alexa Bliss. That's why.
Or you say Nia Jax.
I am the biggest Alexa Bliss fan there's ever been, man. I love Alexa Bliss. Let me just tell you guys, I love Alexa Bliss. Can I just say that?
You know what? This is the second straight week you've spoken quite highly of Alexa.
Alexa Bliss chubs me in a way that no one else does. Okay, how about that?
Wow.
Let me ask you, like, where do you rank Alexa Bliss on the hot scale?
I think what's her name? When Charlotte, Mickie James, and I don't know. Nikki Bella is up there. Nikki Bella's number 1. Charlotte's number 3. I would say is Mickie James. I like him sexy thick, and I like a little. I mean, Alexa Bliss. I think she's like 5 foot barely. I like a little bit of height, a little bit of meat on the bones, a little bit taller.
I like my tiny Alexa Bliss, and I love her heel attitude. She's such a bitch. I love that. Speaking of bitches, what'd you think of the beating heel Neville put on Lindsay Dorado? Oh my goodness! I mean, do you not love this new Neville character? He's a beast.
Yeah. I think they need to switch up his music though, because he sort of still has his old music, and I think that he needs to change it up a little bit. And he doesn't do the Red Arrow anymore.
Yeah, he does that cool cross finisher, that Rings of Saturn finisher. That was pretty vicious. But can I tell you, that segment was like the only time I've ever been like completely impressed by Rich Swann. He was like super hardcore in that. I mean, he was going at Neville. I like that. Like for the first time, I was like, wow, Rich Swann brought it.
WWE is doing a great job booking cruiserweights this last.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I was ready to bury that division.
They don't need to introduce us to like 8 different people and have introductions and tell a story about how this guy likes video games and he used to ride with somebody who's like 20 years older than him when he was 15 years old. Like creepy stories like that, or they don't need like the introductions. They just need cool characters.
No, I think you're right though. I think what they're realizing is like we have Jack Gallagher, we have Neville, and we have Austin Aries. Let's stop dicking around and Kendrick, and before this thing fucking falls apart, let's just ride these guys because these guys are awesome. Like they're finally using the right guys.
To fill an hour show, 205 Live, you can get away with putting on like people like AJ Perkins or TJ Perkins or whatever it is. Like people like that or some other guy or like
But they're not all even anymore. Like, Lince Dorado got his ass kicked. He looked like a total jabroni. He got killed by Neville. Neville not only beat him and tapped him out, he then, after the match, decided to beat him and tap him out again. Like, he totally damaged that guy's character. In a good way. Because you have to draw the parallel that on that guy's best day, he could never beat Neville. And not that makes Dorado a piece of shit or anything, but there needs to be hierarchy. There has to be main eventers in that division. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what? I like it too, because with Raw, you have like 2 good matches in there. With 205 Live, you can put these guys. You can put Neville against some scrub or somebody he's going to be more handily to enhance him a little bit more. And then you put him in a better match on Raw, or let it build up, tell stories like matches like this, and it builds up for the pay-per-view where, hey, you know what? Neville's going to get to wrestle whoever the fuck has title now.
Right. Well, you know, Neville's very impressive, and he may very well, very soon, be the new Cruiserweight champion. But can I tell you something about him? He's not an extraordinary gentleman.
He is not. That is actually, Gallagher is actually probably my favorite new character in the last 6 months in WWE. Liz Jericho is great. Gallagher he's extraordinary.
He's an extraordinary gentleman. He's absolutely extraordinary. And I do like that Corey Graves' announcer character is supposed to be a heel and hates everyone that's face. But for some reason, his heel announcer character crosses over to be a super Gallagher mark, which I love, by the way. That is a very cool wrinkle in the announcing and how they book that piece.
It could also be because Aries is more of a heel than what's his name?
That's true, and Graves, but they do get along. Actually, there was an exchange on 205 Live last week where they had Gallagher on, and they were saying something about, I think he was fighting Tony Nese, so I don't even remember who it was. And he did beat Drew Gulak tonight on Raw, but I don't remember who he was fighting. But Graves made the comment. He goes, you know what? It's because you know why his opponent got beat here? Or it was the duel. You know why Daivari lost the duel? Because he doesn't understand the rules of engagement here. He's not an extraordinary gentleman. And Aries said, well, he may not be he may be an extraordinary gentleman, but he's certainly not the greatest man who's ever lived. I mean, that's a feud waiting to happen. The greatest man who've ever lived. A double.
Aries to wrestle. He's a great wrestler on TNA.
He's funny as shit. Anybody that puts his dick in Christy Hemi's face while he's getting introduced is my kind of guy. Okay? Let me tell you.
Yeah. So anyway, Raw doing better with cruiserweights. That's good. That's awesome. Undertaker in the Rumble. That's good.
That is good.
What was he really out there for? I'm not really sure.
I was he was promoting that movie, The Life of Gavin Stone, or The Resurrection of Gavin Stone. I have no idea what that movie's about, by the way. But I bet you Killer Kev knows. Kev, what is that movie about?
About Christianity.
What movie?
The Resurrection of Gavin Stone.
I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
HBK, I guess, is starring in it.
Amity crosses and.
Oh wait a minute! I saw something about that the other day. That's the one with Shawn Michaels in it.
Yeah, but is it a mainstream movie?
No idea.
Okay, Google.
Like I said, I saw something on Facebook about it the other day, and I just scrolled by.
While I have you on the phone, the line here, Kev, can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
It depends. Is this on the record or off the record?
Maybe it's off the record, but we are recording. I just wanted to ask you your opinion on. I guess I would want to ask your opinion more aesthetically than on the professional prowess of Alexa Bliss. How do you feel about her?
Aesthetically, I think she looks nice. I think she looks decent in the ring.
Do you agree with me that she is the hottest diva in all of WWE?
She's definitely up there.
I like that you said that. That makes me happy.
Yeah,
'Cause, you know,
I don't know if I could rank her hottest yet. I mean, are we talking about like hottest on the roster right now? Hottest all time? Hottest of
not all
2000?
time, not all time, because Trish Stratus was there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can't displace Trish, and let's see, and I can't displace Maurice.
Maurice has gotten older though, man. It's weird. Maurice is still super hot, but you could you could tell there's like something a little off about her. She's definitely aged.
I don't know about age. She's matured.
There's something different about her though. You know, like when she was a wrestler, I feel like she looked so much better. I mean, she looks great. I mean, she's still a 10, but there's something a little bit different about her.
Oh, she's absolutely killer now.
I wish she wrestled. I thought she was an incredibly talented wrestler.
Who's this?
Oh, Marie, she was a good worker, man. Her and Michelle McCool had a great feud, and they did really well in that division. In fact, they were probably the last two legitimate wrestlers before.
What about Lana? I think he's also hotter than Bliss. Bliss is top.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like Lana's just kind of made up. I like Bliss, man. I think she's got the whole package.
And Lana doesn't really wrestle.
Well, let's get to your point though on Vic on HBK.
Well, anyway, I have a tangent to go on. I actually saw a commercial today for the new movie Patriots. Have you seen any advertisements for that? Tensai or
I feel like Patriots Day was a movie that's already been made.
what's that?
Patriots Day?
Yeah.
Wasn't that a movie made in like the 90s?
No. It's about the Boston bombing, the Boston Marathon bombing a couple of years back.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it comes out in like I think it's like January 10th premiere or something, and starring Mark Wahlberg, so it's gonna be good. And it looks like
every Boston movie. That's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, so it looks like it's gonna be a fucking awesome movie. And I saw a commercial for it, and they're like one of the selling points that they put up in big bold letters, one of the top 10 movies of the year. I'm like, really? Hey, fucking in 2017 for a fucking cup of coffee. What the best movie of the year? Jesus.
Yeah, why not oversell yourself? Like, why just make yourself okay?
Like, I can't name 10 movies. I'm not a movie fan by any means. I can't name 10 movies that have come out in the last probably 5 years.
That's poor marketing.
Yeah, I mean, build it up a little bit. I mean, I'll watch it anyway, but build it all up a little bit more than top 10 of the year. I mean, come on, guys. If it was a great movie year and it was December, I mean, maybe say top 5 or something. But shit, top 10 in January.
I agree. Let me tell you something, buddy. You know what I was thinking last night? Poor Titus O'Neil. Poor Titus O'Neil. Why are the New Day bullying him?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like whatever happens here, it's going to ultimately end up with Titus and some other people fighting the New Day. And I don't want to see it because they're going to bury this and whoever.
Why don't they let Titus on in the New Day? I think he'd be awesome.
I don't know. He just doesn't have the look. I mean, could you see him wearing fucking pink or purple?
No, he's too jacked up. I mean, like, Big E's gimmick is that he's a kind of a goofball. Like, that's like what the rib is that he's like acting like them and he's this big maniac guy. So yeah, you do make a good point. I mean, he would look really, really, really out of place, like, as a New Day member, I think. But
they already had one of those guys. Like, they already had Biggie. I mean, he had no use before.
I know,
he was
like, they're faces. A face would not turn away other faces. Well, not that he's a face, but he wants to be part of their team. They embarrass him with the keg challenge, and they show he's a cheater. I mean, they humiliated him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like where this is going because I have a feeling we're gonna have to watch more Titus matches.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. He's just not a extraordinary worker or an extraordinary gentleman.
I don't think that Titus O'Neil is an extraordinary gentleman either. But I sure hope Jack Gallagher does not have to get in the ring with Titus O'Neil. I don't think that would go well for the extraordinary gentleman.
You know what? I'd like to see the gentleman Jack Gallagher team up with the Von Villains.
That's what I was saying last week. Could you imagine they come out, they come out and they compliment Jack Gallagher. This is the way wrestling used to be. You are a true throwback, sir. We support you. You are an extraordinary gentleman. And he's like, you are two guys that get it, that understand what it's all about. It would be so funny. They would be amazing together.
That would be, you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that the Vaughn Villains did not get over at all, I would look forward to. I'd want to see them come back. I thought they should have got the title.
The Vaughn Villains have gotten the Ascension treatment. They are so, and I know not everybody can be the champion, but they have been so misutilized on so many levels. Like they were a very, especially during their face run in NXT. I mean, they're so solid. And I mean, they're genuine jobbers. I mean, it's depressing to me.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, the Ascension treatment, and it sucks because, I mean, we have seen on WWE superstars.
Yeah, man. I'm just surprised. I don't know. I just don't understand why they don't invest more in those guys. I don't, but, it's just the way it goes. But, New Day, basically, like we said, they didn't let him in. Tag team division, it looks like we're going full-fledged feud between the Gallows and Anderson combo and your good friends Cesaro and Sheamus. Gallows looked like he was on his way to also upsetting his opponent, which is a multi-time champion Sheamus. And I'm watching this. I'm like, are they really going to let Gallows win like Anderson did over Cesaro last week? Not so fast. Cesaro was down at ringside, or was down on the mic, and he caused enough interference that Sheamus was able to win the match and hit the Brogue Kick, even though it looked like Gallows was on his way to victory. So that was good, very very good for Sheamus. He didn't have to job. I was happy about that.
Well, I would. My only problem with that is, did you see when they were doing commentary? You had Anderson and Cesaro doing commentary. There was a long time ago the finger poke of death. This was the bottle throw of death, where Anderson literally threw like a water bottle at Cesaro, and it like knocked him out of his chair and back 10 feet.
Well, I gotta say, like, it was, Sheamus was really bad on the mic. Anderson actually was surprisingly really, really good at the table. I was like, wow, he's awesome. But I don't like how they keep bragging about their guaranteed contracts and what superstars they are in Japan. It was just kind of corny. But he was really good otherwise.
Yeah, that's, I don't mind that because it sort of tries to legitimizes them as heels more than it legitimizes them as great wrestlers.
Yeah.
So I love how he's probably said this like 10 times, Anderson. Every time he gets on a mic, you always like, oh yeah, it's like, and I have a hot Asian wife.
He said that?
Yeah, he said it like 10 times. He said it like when he first came up. He said it last night.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he always brags about his hot Asian wife. And I'm like, that's fucking cool as hell.
That's awesome. I thought like I said, I thought he was surprisingly really, really good in the mic. There's different types of talking. Like, that's what really impressed me about CM Punk. Like, he was so good in the booth. I gotta tell you, he was only in the booth a couple months, and not taking anything away from, like, Jerry Lawler. But, Jim Ross is the man on play-by-play, and, you watch WCW and you listen to, like, Shivani. He was horrible. Like, Jim Ross is just on another planet. And Gordon Soley, people talk about him, he was fucking terrible. Gorilla Monsoon was great. A lot of that, though, was because he was with Heenan. JR is great with anybody. He raised Lawler to another level. But Punk, I think he had the potential to be on, like, the JR level. And cutting a promo in public versus being in the mic are two different things. Like, Kevin Owens is incredible on the mic in the ring. Fantastic. I don't think he's that great in the booth. He's kind of snarky. He tries to be funny, and it's kind of he sounds like he's just promoting a match. Anderson is awful on the mic, awful on the mic, and so is Gallus. We've heard them out calling people nerds and stuff. I mean, they're terrible. However, Carl Anderson really impressed me in the booth. He was funny. He was engaging. He was quick. He was watching the action. He made Cesaro look like a tool. I mean, I really was impressed with Anderson. So there you go. I've been so critical of Anderson and Gallows. I have finally found something I like about the tag team. How about that?
You know what? It's only taken them in WWE for about 6 months now, and you found something that you sort of like that.
It's almost actually they debuted right after WrestleMania, so it's been a year almost. Can you believe that?
Hey.
You saw the opening segment. Braun Strowman wants to kill everybody. We know this.
He's not a happy person. Did you see, by the way, my, what I sent you earlier?
I saw that previously. Yeah, that's legit, by the way. You do know that, right? Like, that is Braun Strowman's dating profile.
That's fucking hilarious.
Like, didn't he think somebody would find... I mean, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, there's nothing bad in it, and he has every right to have a personal life, too. But, I mean, not that there's anything bad about it. There really isn't anything bad about it. But didn't he think that, like, it would be discovered? And I like I said, I don't think it's bad, but I mean, he's opening himself up to like endless ribs. Don't you think?
I'm sure he's getting killed backstage for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, it's not easy to date when you're a 6'8" giant. I mean I can't imagine. Not saying it. I'm not saying he can't get women. He's a celebrity, but the women he's with on the road are like the hottest women in the world, and he's traveling with guys like Randy Orton, Del Rio, all these studs. I mean, he's not top of mind, I wouldn't presume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, he's almost like, okay, you know what, you're the biggest guy. Like, I've definitely been shot down at a bar just for chicks going after guys who are just taller. Like,
women like that, man.
Like 5'8" guy, 5'8", 5'10" shit. If there's a 6'4" guy there, similar looks, similar personality, guess who she's going home with?
Well, don't underestimate short guys. I'll give you an example. Brian Kendrick, the man with the plan. He is going to leave with a chick. He's a man with a plan.
He's what?
He's a man with a plan.
He is. And you know what? What's his name? Possible 205 Live combatant at some point in the future, Tyson Kidd. And he's kind of out with Natalia.
I love Neville when he just kicked everyone's ass the other week on Raw. He got on the mic and he goes, "Was this face not good enough to be on TV? Is that what it is?" That was fucking awesome. I love Neville. Dude, there's nothing cooler than when you watch a guy rejuvenate his career when you didn't think you saw much in him. And they show you something. Look no further than Matt Hardy, who literally, I didn't think this guy, I watched this guy for 15 years, Vic. I would have thrown him in the frickin' scrap heap. And I would argue Broken Matt Hardy may be one of the best characters in the history of professional wrestling. I hate TNA. I don't like TNA. I never watched TNA. I haven't watched TNA in 10 years. However, every Thursday or Friday, whenever it is, I go on YouTube and I look up the date that just passed and I look for Matt Hardy's segment. And I have watched Matt Hardy's segment for the last year, which is a lot of TNA TV. The dude, I mean, it's great when somebody resurrects their career. Look no further than Neville. It's pretty cool. I'm very excited about that.
That's good that people have a second act to it. Because a lot of these guys, like the Ascension, there's no coming back from.
Yeah, what do you turn them face? I mean, come on, please.
Yeah, they need to be completely rebranded.
They need to just be cut. I hate to say it, and I love those guys, but they're just too damaged. I mean, you can't lose that many matches. And Neville was heading that way, buddy. Neville was heading that way. And I know I bring him up every once in a while on the show, and I've heard some heat in the past, but I've read some Mark Madden stuff, and I know he's not really doing it anymore, but he kind of stopped like 3 or 4 months ago on the net. But Mark Madden said about, I don't know, a year ago when Neville was really kind of getting big and right before he started jobbing, he said, the one thing I fear about with Neville is the WWE writers and Vince McMahon are going to tire of him after they get through all of his moves and all of his hocus pocus, and he's going to become the next Evan Bourne. And he did. He was going that way. Just like the flippy jobber. And then this heel turn just rejuvenated him. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a good use of 205 Live.
For sure.
It's a good use. I mean, I think that I could see Sin Cara going in there. I wouldn't mind seeing Enzo Amore in there. I'm sure he doesn't look like he's more than 205.
Well, yeah, he would be good in that division. That's actually, I never thought of that. It's a good point. Speaking of which, you were asking about the Shawn Michaels segment. Yes, it was awesome to see Shawn back. I completely agree with you. But what in the hell were they thinking? Like, that segment was terrible. So, long story short, for those who didn't see it, Rusev came out during Shawn Michaels' segment to promote the resurrection of Gavin Stone. Shawn made it clear he wasn't going to be in the Royal Rumble because, as much as he'd love to do it, he feels much better about being on the outside looking in than on the inside looking out. And Rusev came in and basically said, your movie's going to stink unless you put my wife Lana in it. And Shawn goes, well, it's kind of a problem because the movie's already been made and it's done. And then Rusev said, well, you're going to do CGI and CGI in Lana so that she could be in the movie. And then basically Shawn said, well, no, CGI is only for freak Chewbacca looking guys, kind of like you. Ha 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 ha. Then Rusev's about to kill Shawn Michaels. Out comes Cass and Enzo, who make about 15 to 20 penis jokes. And then there's a match in which Rusev looked like he was going to challenge Big Cass. They said, well, no, you're going to fight Jinder Mahal instead. And Big
Cass was actually looking
like Jinder Mahal.
He was looking super jacked.
Jinder Mahal, yes, didn't he? He looked like...
Because I remember him, he used to be... He wasn't the great Khali physique, but he wasn't anything near what he is now.
He was in good shape. If you had to look at Jinder Mahal in the past, you'd be like, wow, not wow, but you'd say that's a very athletic, tall dude. He looks like he can go. But now he is absolutely shredded, you're correct. Shredded.
It's almost like the Alberto Del Rios when he left. Like, he was sort of flabby, and then he went on his suspension or fired for like the 6 months or whatever. And when he came back, he was jacked up out of his mind.
Del Rio looked, when he got back, and still, because he still looks this way, Del Rio looks like 10 years younger. I mean, I've never seen a transformation like that. And I would agree, Mahal did a similar transformation. And he was probably in better shape than Del Rio initially was, but both of them now are completely shredded. But Cass wins the match, no surprise. But I thought the segment was stupid. It was a segment so that Shawn Michaels could super kick Rusev, which he did on the outside of the ring.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't know. I thought that the whole thing was going to be HBK calling out AJ Styles.
Me too. I thought he entered the Royal Rumble, and I was bummed.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean,
did you think HBK would be in the Rumble? I thought he was.
You know what? I sort of thought he wouldn't. I mean, he might come out. I could sort of see him interfering. Think about this. AJ and Cena are going. HBK comes out, costs AJ Styles the match.
Wow.
Cena wins the championship. Cena will get his match against, let's say, Undertaker if he wins it. AJ Styles and HBK at WrestleMania.
That's the match to make for sure. But what I would love it, Vic. But what's the motive for HBK to interfere against AJ?
Well, he was supposed to call him out last night, and apparently he forgot.
Who was supposed to call him out? AJ?
I thought that was the reason that he went. HBK was supposed to call out AJ Styles.
Really? Why did AJ call him out?
No. It was. I thought it was supposed to be. Kev, maybe you can help us out with this. But I thought it was. I thought Triple H or HBK called out AJ Styles, or he was going to call him out, or said something like that.
Really?
I think so. This wasn't. I don't think it was on Raw last week, but I definitely read it like during a week or something like that. I read it somewhere.
I wonder if Styles did anything tonight, because I didn't watch all of it tonight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't see. I bet you didn't lose the title though.
I watched like an hour of it. I saw, because obviously for those who are listening, we're filming, or we're not filming, taping tonight on Tuesday, because you were watching the national championship, and unfortunately I fell asleep, but I did get to watch all of Raw today, which was great. But before we came on the air, got to watch a little bit of SmackDown, and I saw American Alpha again pinned the Wyatts. That blew my mind that they beat them twice. But I didn't see anything with Styles. So that, if you're right and they do wind up going that path, and I do recall I read something like that too. But yeah, I mean, obviously AJ and Shawn would just absolutely blow the freaking roof off the place, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even if Shawn Michaels was a 10-minute match, I think they'd still make it fucking entertaining as all hell.
But dude, does HBK have to lose? Like, and this is the shit that pisses me off. That the internet, and it's like, well, there's no reason HBK doesn't need the win, and he's got to pass the torch, and I don't like all that shit. I think that's so stupid. I might just let your bigger draw win. I mean, that's it. Then you could save them for the future draw. You know, I mean,
or let him win and give him a handshake of approval, and then hey, what? Then you can turn. He gets HBK's handshake after losing to him, and he turns into a face. Because
Styles is in his late 30s. He's an incredible draw. He doesn't need the win. He really doesn't. And neither does Shawn. What I would say is, if AJ loses, it does nothing to harm him. If HBK loses, it actually does harm him, because if he wants to come back for a one-off, he's of no value if he came back to lose last time. It's like Rob Van Dam. They jobbed him so many freaking times. You could never bring him back and anyone even care about it.
Who's that?
Van Dam.
You know what? I think they might bring him back for, I don't know if he can pass the drug
Nobody
test.
would care, though. Dude, how many times did you watch Seth Rollins beat him on Raw? I literally watched 3 Raws in a row, 3 curb stomps, 3 clean losses. I mean, I'll never forget that. I can't get that out of my mind.
That also could have been punishment time for smoking too much at Mary Jane, because he got busted, and he was still on a contract for a while before he got suspended.
Yeah, well, Braun Strowman got mad tonight, and he got booked against Seth Rollins, and that was a waste of 30 minutes, because that whole segment was Braun Strowman got mad, wanted to kill everybody, Rollins gets booked by Stephanie McMahon, and it's a double count out. Why even bother?
You know what? Oh, I don't mind it. It was early enough in the show where it was interesting, and it looks at what they did and do a lot, especially with shows like tonight, where it's like, all right, we're competing against a national championship team. We need to have a draw that's going to come back. So they'll announce matches later. So basically, they use this match to set up the Roman Reigns match later on. Or they use to stuff for it, the match. I think they did this match to show that sort of put Seth Rollins on like a similar level. Like he's not getting expression Strowman. So I think they were putting over big time about how he fucking killed Sami Zayn.
Well,
so they were fucking jacking him off and saying he's dominating the whole time. But the fact that Rollins lasted 12 minutes or whatever it was before a double DQ, I mean, they gave him props like, hey, you know what? He withstood the best efforts of the Giant, of the monster. I think it was good they continued to build up Strowman as a monster, and it was effective because it basically said, hey, you know what? Seth Rollins, he can take a beating from the monster.
Right.
Not to win, but he can take a beating and keep on fighting.
Why does Mick Foley have no facial hair, or no hair on the top of his head now? What happened to him?
It was fucking horrible.
What? But why did someone shave his head on one of the pay-per-views or something? Did I missed that?
Oh no, 2 weeks, or I guess it was last week. He had it was like half of a shave, or it was like cut like really short, pretty short. And then this week it was like they finished the job and just cut it really like crew cut. So no, it wasn't like he didn't lose a bet or.
He looked kind of disturbing.
Oh yeah, he looked fucking weird.
He looked like a pervert, like a pedophile.
Yeah. Well, he looked like one of those weird people with full head of gray hair, thinning out, but like a full head of it. And definitely, I don't know. I noticed, I noticed a couple gray hairs. I had my hair a little bit longer, I guess, beginning of last year. And then I got it cut short. And I actually noticed a spot or two of, hey, there's like gray here now. Like, where the hell did that come from? My hair's a little bit longer. So I think that part of it is you don't really know what's going on down there. I mean, you expect some gray hair, but if you dye your hair or whatever, or it all doesn't look like that, it's going to come out more gray. Especially if you have longer hair like that. I mean, it's probably like a year's worth of hair growth. So, or something that looked gray.
He's a chia pet.
A lot of it was gray when he got to it.
How about Stephanie McMahon calling out Sasha Banks? That was pretty cool. When Sasha Banks tried to demand that match for next week, and she goes, "You're not the boss of anything. I'm the boss around here." That was awesome.
It was pretty fucking impressive. I'm like, holy crap! Like, Steph's fucking awesome, badass. Steph's been a pretty good. She's
big and jacked. She would kill Sasha Banks.
You know what? I don't want to rank Steph's top 10 diva. I don't want to say top 5, but Steph has some nice qualities to her.
Oh yeah, for sure. Big fan. Well, yeah, I thought that was kind of weak too. And Bayley and Sasha are like, we got jumped backstage, and Sasha got her knee kicked out by Nia Jax and Charlotte. Screw them. Next week we're gonna fight both of them. You need to book that match. Stephanie's like, screw you. I'm not gonna do anything I don't want to do, and you're not the boss of me. You're not the boss of anything. You know what? You wanted the match so bad? Screw it. You're gonna get it this week, not next week. And they made the match tonight, and Nia Jax and Charlotte went on. You know, they were too much, and they were not even on the same page. But Nia Jax was able to take care of Bayley due to a blind tag, which was a nice move, and they won the thing. So Nia Jax and Charlotte get back some of their steam that they've lost. Perfect booking, in my opinion. I have no problems with it, and it sets up the two women's matches very well, I think. What do you think?
You know what? I like it a lot because I think that this is similar to Cruiserweight division. They're working on two interesting feuds.
For sure.
And I think that, sort of like with Cruiserweight divisions, maybe before Rumble on a pre-show, we have Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax, and maybe like another 205 Live or something. Like, I don't know if it would be 205 Live. Maybe Gallagher and Austin Aries or something. You know, although I think that would be me. Maybe Gallagher on a pre-show. So we do like 3 matches in the pre-show. Do like a tag match, the 205 Live match, and a women's match. And just do like sometimes I do like 2-hour previews.
What'd you think of the handicap match for the U.S. title, the main event, and the big story coming out of Raw? Jericho and Owens versus Roman Reigns. Jericho walks out with the U.S. title, and although Jericho's finisher, the Code Breaker, won this thing after constant interference from the two of them, Owens, in my estimation, could have easily jumped in, rolled up Reigns, and took the pin after that move. But he essentially let Jericho win the title. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, well, you know what I like? I like the fact that they did this, because what I think is going to happen is during the Royal Rumble, Jericho's going to be in a cage above the ring, and it's going to be Reigns, and it's going to be Owens. Jericho can't interfere from the cage unless he drops his title belt down to Owens and he hits Reigns with it and then throws it back up or throws it out of the way. So I think that could be, they're definitely going to have him do something to impact the match. I just don't know if it's going to be something that ends up costing Kevin Owens the title, or if it's going to be something that ends up keeping the belt on Kevin Owens. I'd prefer to see him keep the belt on Owens and wrestle Jericho at WrestleMania for the title.
The money match.
Yeah. But then again, that's also a sort of match where I don't think you necessarily need a title.
What the hell is going on in 2016, 2017 when Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy, and Goldberg have rocked our worlds? I love it, by the way. What the hell happened?
It's literally like 15-year throwback to clock, and it's like, holy shit, like you guys are like still rock stars.
How cool would it be if Goldberg won the Royal Rumble? He could. I don't think he will, but he could.
I don't think. I think that hopefully Roman Reigns doesn't either. That didn't work out too well.
I don't see Roman Reigns winning by any chance. I mean, I think it's got to be Strowman or Undertaker, but I don't think it's Strowman because then you got to put him in a world title match. I don't think he's ready for that at WrestleMania.
I think what they can do, and I read an article about this. They were saying, hey, you know what? It's like, here's like our picks for sort of what's going to happen at the Royal Rumble. They were saying that what's his name? That Strowman, he's probably going to be the one to have the most eliminations. Similar to, what was it, Roman Reigns last year? He had like 12 eliminations in Canada past. So they'll probably book Strowman to have the most eliminations. And they also might, the longest stay in the match, they might do Rollins.
Huh.
To get each of them over, even though they don't win it.
Yeah, if Reigns went from like 1 to 30, I mean, that totally would do the trick. I mean, that would be impressive.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think that, I mean, if Strowman eliminated 10 people in the match, I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And that would get him over. Or that would start the process of getting him over, where he's not going to be over by WrestleMania, but if he continues to build and continue to win matches, he could be over by Q3, Q4 next year.
Well said. I think if we get Jericho and Owens, we'd be lucky. I think if we get Goldberg and Owens, we'd be lucky. A lot can happen between now and then, Mr. Big Dick.
I'm excited. I really am.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is the prime time. This is the season. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Christmas. I love New Year's. I love my birthday. I love this era or this segment of the year for wrestling. Everything from now until the Monday night after WrestleMania. It should be entertaining as fuck. You there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was just thinking about the pay-per-view in itself. But like we were saying, Vic, it really is wide open, and any of these wrestlers can win it. So it really remains to be seen what's going to happen. So I'm as excited as you are. I think it's going to be very cool. And I thought Raw was good, man. I really enjoyed it. I'm actually glad I got to see half of it last night and half of it tonight because I really got to watch it. Whereas I do have a hard time, even though I do it every week, going through 3 hours, I have a hard time focusing, and I really was able to really focus tonight. But I was disappointed in the first half an hour, as we mentioned. But however, once it got going, it really kept a nice pace. It had a good mix of matches, and the last segment, the last hour, was done very well. So I give it a solid B+. It was a good show, and Royal Rumble is definitely lining up to be an A. So that's my take, my 50 cents.
Well, I mean, the thing is, they're going to have, if you think about the other matches they're going to have here, they're probably going to have American Alpha versus the Wyatts. They're going to have Anderson and Gallows versus Sheamus and Cesaro. They're going to have a Cruiserweight title. They're going to have the Shark Cage title. And they're going to have AJ Styles versus Cena. Plus,
that's a stacked card. That's a stacked card.
Insanely stacked Royal Rumble. I mean, this is by far...
Well, dude, WWE's roster is so extensive and good and big now. Go for it. Do it. Have fun with it. Put Samoa Joe in the Rumble. Put Shinsuke Nakamura in it. Go for it. Make this the biggest Rumble ever. Just knock yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they bring Samoa Joe up, and I've heard that they're gonna, so hopefully they do. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like he's been in WWE for a while now, been down at NXT, sort of cutting his teeth. But, I mean, he's ready to get put over. But whether they want to make him face or heel, whatever, he's ready. He's ready. I mean, he looked really good in that match in Japan.
He is ready. Well, that's the show for tonight, bud. Anything you want to plug or else that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think Patriots Day, I think it's going to be the best movie of 2017. You've heard it here first. Not one of the top 10, the best. Might be going on a limb here, but I feel that strongly.
I mean, that you're not one to put yourself out there like that, Big Dick. I like it a lot.
What about you? Any predictions? Any words of wisdom?
I mean, I of the matches I do know, I predict Cesaro and Sheamus will make quick work of the Bullet Club. I think the titles themselves, I think John Cena will find a way to capture the title back. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the big night where he finally goes heel. I'm trying to think of who else there is.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again. Who's going to get the title back?
Cena.
You think that? Okay, that's interesting.
I just think Cena is primed to be taken down by somebody at WrestleMania, and they're not gonna just let him go down at WrestleMania. He's gonna win the title beforehand to go down because he's been out for so long. So John Cena is the man to beat, as he says, and he will defend successfully in the February pay-per-view. But I think it's gonna be a knockdown drag out.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, I think that's just about covers it. I think we got pretty much all of Raw there.
Yeah, man, I'm glad we were able to come on. So thank you for your time, Big Dick. Anything you want to plug, Mr. Kill Cav?
Yes, we are recording tonight's episode of the Raw Reaction on a Tuesday night when we would normally be recording the latest episode of the Wrestling Nerdcast with the bearded wonder Zane Paisley and the incredible Huck independent wrestler Will Huckabee. We put that show on hold tonight because we're going to have to record it tomorrow at the special request of our special guest on the next episode, Raven.
Whoa, you guys are getting Raven?
We are getting Raven, the ECW original.
From Short Hills, New Jersey. I don't know if you know that. That's by the way, that's a very affluent area. So his character is very different than the way he was brought up.
Well, unless you delve into the character in the latter days of WCW.
Well,
I actually think that was probably some of the most brilliant story writing and booking of Raven's career.
You know what? Disagree. I think his best angle by far was his original WWE days as Johnny Polo.
Well, that's what makes the WCW gimmick even better, because they pulled that gimmick in.
How did they pull that gimmick in? I thought he was just a freaking freak.
It was until they put him with who was it? Billy Kidman, and they kind of started palling him around, and then all of a sudden they start in on this angle where Raven goes back to his mom's house, and you thought Raven like lived in a dump somewhere. But instead, he lives in, his mom lives in like this real high-end upscale subdivision, and they go back into the whole original Scotty Flamingo gimmick, and basically, it was Raven. The reason Raven is because he's trying to get away from his domineering mom. And he's not poor and broke and strung out. He's actually filthy rich.
Well, then there it is. I mean, you got enough material to keep you busy tomorrow night, buddy. I love that. I love that Raven's coming on. It actually helped us out, too, because we needed to record tonight. So that is one I'm going to be tuning in for. That's awesome. Good pickup for you guys. Wow, that was very well done.
Indeed.
So that should be exciting.
Thank you. And then, of course, Thursday night AMP is going to be coming up right around the corner. I don't think we have a guest this week. Not exactly sure what we're covering yet, because we dedicated almost 2 hours last week to the coverage of Wrestle Kingdom 11. We might have some more fallout after that. Kenny Omega has been making some shocking statements in social media lately. Everybody's trying to figure out what his end game is. So we might have some more information.
Interesting.
Yeah. He wants to be WWE.
Who is Jordan Garber's guest this week on the Snake Pit?
On the Snake Pit, I have no idea.
Is that show? Does he do that for Angry Marks?
No. He's doing that one in conjunction with Oh, I don't remember which promotion he works with in Canada.
Stampede.
I'm wanting to say CWE.
Okay, interesting.
Garber Worldwide Wrestling.